One South Georgia community comes together to tackle a constant problem that's only gotten worse. How people in Crisp County are fighting hunger. But first, following an active weekend of weather impacting the southeast, can southwest Georgia expect a round of storms this week? Our Skywatch weather team has that answer. Good evening and thank you for watching Fox 31 News at 10. I'm Greg Loyd. Victoria DeCardenas has the evening off.
Everybody, Joe Spear here in the Skywatch Weather Center. We're going to kick things off here talking about Claudette. It's not a concern for us anymore here across southwest Georgia. It's now sitting in the Atlantic Ocean. That's pretty much where it will spend the rest of its time. Tracking later into this week over towards colder waters, closer towards Nova Scotia. Our third storm of the season regained its strength as a tropical storm and now is just on the weakening trend, probably not going to regain its strength anymore. Here's what it looked like earlier today as it continued to push off the Carolina coast, closer up towards the North Atlantic seaboard. Can still see the spin associated with that system, but that line of clouds up to the north, that's a cold front that's going to push into our forecast by the time we get into tomorrow. Here's what we did in terms of the almanac today. Slightly below average, only at 91, a ways away from breaking any records today for our daytime high. 74 degrees is what we started off with today. That was slightly above average. Miraculously, not many showers here across the region today. Our precipitation total here for June 21st still sitting at 0 inches. Here's what we're expecting for tomorrow. That cold front moving into the forecast, and with that, a solid amount of thunderstorms throughout the majority of the day. Temperatures will be on the cooler side. We were in the 90s today. We'll only get to the 80s tomorrow, on the lower 80s, so roughly 10 degrees cooler here across southwest Georgia. We are under a severe storm threat at 1 out of 5 for most of southwest Georgia for tomorrow as that cold front pushes by, so there is some potential for a severe thunderstorm or two. Coming up later in this half hour, here's what we'll be going over. That incoming cold front, we'll get all the details on that. Temperatures staying on the cool side, especially after that front passes by. They'll stick to below normal for a while, and we're also going to turn our eyes back to the tropics because Claudette isn't the only thing that we'll be looking at anymore here in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, we were dealing with Claudette here in the southeast and across the country. Massive destruction and at least a dozen dead after severe weather sweeps across portions of the Midwest and southeast this weekend. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seri has more from Alabama.
My gosh, it just hit quick. I mean, this is like something you see on TV, but you never experience it.
A tornado ripping through the suburbs of Chicago Sunday night with powerful winds taking the roofs off of homes while knocking some right off their foundations. Officials there reporting at least half a dozen injuries and tens of thousands of people left without power. In the meantime, Claudette regaining tropical storm strength, the storm battering the southeast with heavy winds and rains over the weekend, and it's now on its way towards the Carolina coast, where a tropical storm warning is in effect. In Alabama, the National Weather Service confirming an EF2 tornado tore through the community of East Bruton, with winds reaching 127 miles an hour. One man driving through the storm as the tornado hit.
It was just raining hard, raining in winds, and then I seen tree limbs dropping in front of me, so I had to swerve around them, and it just came through right in front of me.
And in Butler County, the NTSB is now investigating after a pileup crash involving more than a dozen vehicles on Interstate 65 left 10 dead, including a father from Tennessee and his 9-month-old daughter, and a group of girls between the ages of 3 and 17, some of them part of a youth program for abused and neglected children. And you can see these ominous storm clouds behind me. Rain is slowing down relief efforts as homeowners try to rebuild their communities. In East Bruton, Alabama, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Tonight, an Albany man is on the loose and wanted by police on several felony warrants. Raymond FREDRICO is being charged for kidnapping and making terroristic threats. If you have any information, you are asked to contact Albany police. A man is recovering after being shot several times in Albany on Saturday. Police believe the shooting happened at Davis Boys Automotive on North Monroe Street. Tyler Mills was rushed to the hospital for his injuries. Currently, there are no suspects at this time. A Valdosta man behind bars accused of trying to steal a bike from someone at gunpoint. The victim told officers that Eric Mitchell attempted to take his bike, but he held onto it until he realized that Mitchell had a gun on him. That's when the victim city called 911. Officers arrested Mitchell shortly after. Mitchell is being charged with aggravated assault. A car crash leaves one man dead in Lee County from a Saturday wreck. It happened near the intersection of Lido Road and Archie Drive. The car ran off the road during the storm, hitting trees and power poles. The driver died from his injuries. There were no passengers in the car. Tonight, the search continues for a missing Albany woman. Jennifer Russell was last seen on June 16th, leaving Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital. Our Tiffany Gray spoke with Russell's father, who says the family is completely devastated. Tiffany?
Yes, Greg, it has been 6 days since anybody has reportedly seen Jennifer Russell. Now, according to Russell's father, his daughter was last seen after Phoebe officials discharged her on June 16th. Russell is a resident at Pruitt Health Palmyra, and his father said officials at the nursing home gave the hospital instruction to not discharge her alone. Phoebe officials tell Russell's father that she was discharged after she communicated with doctors and showed no signs that she should not be left alone. At the moment, Russell's family is devastated and waiting for answers.
Not good. We're miserable. You know, grasping at every straw. Hoping for the best, but planning for the worst. You know, we're worried to death, depending on God right now. We know He's in charge, and nothing happens without His knowing. But we just have to let Him do His work.
Now, Russell has a severe speech impediment and short-term memory loss. We reached out to Phoebe for a statement, but they declined any further information due to HIPAA laws. Now, we'll continue to update you all on air and online as soon as we receive any additional information. For now in the studio, I'm Tiffany Gray.
Tiffany, thank you. And discussions continue surrounding Dougherty County Coroner's fiscal year budget. Now he's demanding answers on his insurance increase. Coroner Michael Fowler received news last week that his group health insurance for next year would go from $7,000 to more than $20,000. And he didn't receive much of an explanation as to why. We contacted a member of the Finance Committee for that reason, and he says that COVID-19 has caused insurance costs to increase for all county departments by 3%. The coroner says he's just asking for transparency when it comes to taxpayer money.
They said because we had disasters in the last few years, so I didn't understand why it would still jump from $7,000 to $20,000 just for one employee. I just couldn't understand that. So I haven't gotten an answer on that. But they did come back and explain to me that we are possibly going to work the $13,620 back into your top of your budget line item.
The amendment to Coroner Fowler's budget will be voted on at the upcoming commission meeting on Monday. Dougherty County is now one step closer to having a new ordinance that will allow for the replacement of solar panels. The issue was brought up at last week's commission meeting when a citizen voiced concern that she couldn't place solar panels on her home. The ordinance prohibited any panels to be on a street facing the slope of a pitch roof, a rule that commissioners say was too strict to follow and instead wanted to develop an ordinance similar to the one the city of Albany already has in place. The Planning Commission will be reviewing the county's solar regulations and voting on that ordinance soon. Cordele faces a critical food shortage, and neighbors are coming together to help each other. Since the pandemic, many cities, including Cordele, were hit hard, and many were left without resources to feed their families. Groups started food drives and pantries across the city to help meet the need. Northern Heights Baptist Church and Hands of Hope Multi-Purpose Center are some of the many that have extended efforts to fight hunger. Pastor Max Rogers explains why the drives are so important.
Different testimonies of people who really need the food and they're dependent upon the food each month. And if we get in a bind where we're not able to have that, that will be very unfortunate.
And down the street, the Hope Multi-Purpose Center not only provides food bags, but also a place for people to stay. This nonprofit has the same mission to help bridge that food insecurity gap and also other needs of the community.
I'm James Rosen with the latest on the hunt for the origin of COVID-19, including a classified briefing by top federal scientists for House investigators.